Well, welcome friends to part two. I guess I'll say the good news first. We haven't crashed to desktop yet in this now part two video. Took off from Boise, but there's lots to report, so I'm starting this video a little earlier than I normally would. Took off from Boise an hour and 9 minutes ago. All right, let's start with the bad news. I'm noticing wild fluctuations in the outside air temperature. Right now, it's clearly showing the outside air temperature on the ground. We're at 25,000 feet, and it's showing the outside air temperature at 38 degrees Celsius. Obviously wrong. That's been fluctuating wildly throughout the flight from Boise to realistic numbers like minus 28 to, boom, 38. That, in turn, is causing absolute havoc with our knots indicated. So we're getting constant overspeed warnings, and then the temperature drops, or rather goes to ground level air temperature and plummets, and then it drops and it's to actual outside air temperature, and it's overspeed warnings, and so that's a mess, an absolute mess. ATC seems to be working sort of, and I'll tell you what I mean by sort of. Right now we've been cleared to descend down to 20,000 feet. We're 78 miles out. We're at 23,300 feet. Our altitude's good. While I'm thinking about it, I'm going to do this. And we could still crash to desktop, so I have no idea. ILS for runway 20 right at John Wayne is 111.75. Another thing, look how it looks kind of fuzzy. I can't explain that. I have everything set at ultra, although if we land, I'm going to check our settings once more. But yeah, if you can, it may not come through on the video. Down to 8,200, that's the real whiskey.
Descend and maintain 8,200 feet, Cessna 3 Bravo Whiskey.
Yeah, the glass cockpit textures are fuzzy. Whether it comes through on the video or not, normally in this sort of configuration, all this would be clear. Like perfectly clear. Oh, we just saw a change in outside air temperature again. Now it's minus 11. And you hear the landing gear alarm coming because the auto throttle is dropped to idle. So it hasn't crashed to desktop, so I guess in that respect I should be happy. Shallow water descent rate here, 2,000 feet per minute. Pretty modest. Hasn't crashed to desktop, but I'm getting wild fluctuations in outside air temperature. And then another thing is that this flight was supposed to be at flight level 430, 43,000 feet. I cruised up to 43,000 feet and got constant messages from ATC that I was below or above my assigned altitude. So I tinkered with it and climbed or descended. Until they stopped pestering me. There he is, right there. So I would tinker with the altitude, but bottom line is, if your flight is supposed to be, we're at transition level. See, we just passed 18,000. For flight shows me at 18,600. This shows me at 17,007. Regardless, we'll go ahead and adjust our altimeter. We're not receiving current altimeter. Anyway, I don't know if ATC's perception of our altitude is wrong, or if
transition altitude, nearest altimeter 3010.
3010, according to Betty. This is not showing that. Anyway, I don't know if the altitude in the cockpit is wrong or the altitude at ATC is wrong, but there's a lot of problems. Now, it's not crashing to desktop, which, based on what a lot of guys have been reporting, I guess that's a good thing. But it's not at a place right now where I would feel comfortable having a genuine sim experience. Just forget about the cosmetic stuff, like the fuzzy screens and this stupid goddamned white thing up here, the menu bar, that normally would fade away. Now it's stuck open, and I can get rid of it by pressing the up arrow, but it just comes back. So Forget about the cosmetic shit, though, right? It's back, see? Scenery looks okay to me. I mean, I guess, all things considered. I'm going to reconfirm once we land, if we land, that I am in fact at Ultra, because it doesn't look like it. Zoom in on our MFD down to 20 for now. 50 miles out, 14,000 feet. We're going to shallow out. Doing the direct approach for ILS runway 20 right, which is clearly going to bring us right over the San Bernardino Mountains. So we might have to... doing a lot of... there's the desert, Inland Empire, and so forth. Lots of issues that still need to be addressed. Do you see that just popped in? Looks kind of shitty, if you ask me. 49 miles out, 13,500 feet. If we actually make it onto the ground, okay. All right, that's good. I mean, you know, ETC's working. 8,800. Okay, earlier they wanted us at 8,200. I have to zoom in order to be able to see some of this stuff, and it's not just because I'm old. 2385, says Rowski. LA Center is at 12.8 for 8,800. Yeah, we're coming in right over these peaks. Looks good. Just about to clear these. Whoa! Look at this. Outside air temperature just jumped to 33 degrees. They gotta fix that. They've gotta fix this wildly fluctuating outside air temperature. That's a major problem. 40 miles out, 12,400 feet. Down to 7,300, says Lurivsky. Right over these peaks. Look at this. See this? Feeling the turbulence. San Bernardino Mountains. Mount San Gorgonio. I've been right there once. You already told me that, but okay, let's slow. Yeah, they're giving us all sorts of instructions in terms of descent.
Descend and maintain 7,900 feet Cessna 3 Bravo Whiskey. Cessna 3 Bravo Whiskey descend and maintain 6,100 feet.
6,100, says Lurivsky.
Going to 124 decimal 6 exit.
We have our bearing 2 set to nav 1, but we don't have any data coming in yet for the ILS. We are receiving glide slope information, however. 5,500, says Lurivsky.
Descend and maintain 5,500 feet.
Kind of all over the place here with regard to our descent instructions and really bouncing.
Cessna 3 Bravo Whiskey descend and maintain 6,100 feet.
Really giving lots of instructions. Bouncing like crazy. I don't mind turbulence. We're coming over mountains. That makes sense. There's Ontario.
Descend and maintain 4,900 feet Cessna 3 Bravo Whiskey.
We still haven't even made it to the ground yet, so in terms of my... 3,400 is the altitude for Snake.
Descend and maintain 3,400 feet Cessna 3
for the published approach altitude. 30 miles out, 9,500 feet. Altitude's perfect. Sitting at 1,200 feet per minute. Uh-oh. Oof. There it is. Okay. Anyway, here's our approach. Coming in over Pomona right now. Snake, hook 'em, and lemon. Whoa. Snake right there, 3,400. Hook 'em, 2,800, and lemon, 2,200 for about a 12-mile final. I deliberately chose to fly to John Wayne today just because I know the airport. See, now this says, see how this is speed mock? Before this latest patch, it would give me the actual number. I can still determine the number just by looking over here, but it's not as convenient, especially given the reduced quality of the textures on the glass cockpit. Slowing. 24 miles out, 8,000 feet, we're fine. But we do want to slow down. Let's go ahead and do our speed brakes. And disconnect the auto throttle. Let's set this down to 180.
SoCal approach Cessna November, tree 4 tree Bravo Whiskey is at 7,700 feet.
Could still crash the desktop, okay? Let's just be honest. 22 miles out, 7,200 feet. Descending 1,800 feet per minute. Texture-wise, I'm not unhappy. I mean, I think it looks pretty good. I don't know, this looks shitty. Fuzzy here, clear there. I don't know. Alright, we'll shallow out our descent rate, reconnect the auto throttle. Our glide slope information is coming up now. We are receiving ISNA on bearing 2, which is set to nav 1. So that's encouraging. Shallow out the descent rate. 19 miles out now. Outside air temperature showing 36 degrees. That's not encouraging. Outside air temperature in my backyard right now is 90. So it's almost certainly not 36 degrees at 6,000 feet, but you never know. I haven't even thought about whether or not ILS interception and all that stuff's going to work. That's the least of our worries right now, though. But our altitude's perfect, just perfect, and it's the 91 freeway. Yorba Linda. Irvine Lake, right here. San Diego Peak. I mean, texture-wise, I can handle that, okay? I can deal with that. They've got to fix the wildly fluctuating outside air temperature and the altitude, ATC altitude inconsistencies. Landing lights. It's a toll road. Flying right over my house almost. Right over Snake right now. See if I can see my house. 2,800 says the real whiskey. That's the next published approach altitude at Hookham, so that makes sense. I mean, procedurally, it's going very well. Procedurally. Altimeter set 29906. Procedurally, it's going well. It's just other issues that are concerning me. Flying right over my house. That is a hoot. This Canyon Rim Reservoir right there. And my house, I won't say where, but it's right in this general vicinity. I'm actually looking at it. Hey, that looks great. That's crazy. All right. TFR head, that's Disneyland. Don't worry about that. Flaps? Oh shit. Just realized we still got Still got speed brake deployment. Jesus Christ, no
Tower
wonder the throttle's
128
working hard.
Tree 5 Cessna Tree Bravo Whiskey.
Flaps.
John Wayne Tower Cessna November Tree 4 Tree Bravo.
Luckily, they weren't
10 miles.
particularly deployed, but...
ILS runway 20
Okay, let's switch over to Nav 1. It's already switched. Let's switch over to APPR. Grab the glide slope instantaneously. Okay, so this is encouraging. Air temperature just dropped. Air temperature just dropped 28.
Cleared ILS runway 20 right approach Cessna Tree Bravo Whiskey.
Let's go outside. Put down the gear. North Tustin. Looks good. Outer marker indicator. Full flaps. Slow our approach speed. 140.
Cessna Tree Bravo Whiskey, follow the generic on final.
Oh God, there's somebody on final.
1-2. Cleared to land runway 20 right.
Cleared to land, 20 right, Cessna Whiskey.
Runway 20 right, Cessna Tree Bravo Whiskey.
Okay, we got full flaps. We can depressurize. Don't want to forget that. Full flaps. Landing gear is activated. It sounds louder than it usually does. Make sure that's... Yeah, speed brakes are 0. Airspeed looks good. A little slow. I set it at 140. We're at 136. Let's bring that up just a tad. I don't know, man. But for the issues up at altitude, there's Interstate 5. But for the issues up at altitude, it's pretty damn smooth. Look at this. That's nice.
Alaska 1220
Uh-oh. I haven't seen that in months and months. Yeah, some issues with regard. These are the former Tustin Marine Corps Air Station blimp hangars that seem to be overgrown with trees, which they are not in real life.
3 mile final runway 20 right.
Airspeed's good, 139. Disconnect the auto throttle. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay, good. It's getting a little squirrely on me there. All right. Well, I don't know what's going to happen, friends, but hopefully we don't CTD. I got poppies in sight, 2 and 2. Autopilot. Airspeed's fine. Engine sounds are a little different. A little noisier. That looks great. Coming in over the 405. 2 and 2. Middle marker. Two zero right confirmed. Pretty butter. Spoilers are up, reverse is on. All right. Well, look, I mean, we didn't CTD, and I guess, look, at the end of the day, that's the most important thing, right? Exit here. Welcome to John Wayne Airport, my home. Pedals are working.
132.25 Cessna Tree Bravo Whiskey.
Parking brake here, stand by. Contact ground. Parking. Okay, so this stuff's all working pretty well. Spoilers are in.
taxiway Echo Alpha.
Flaps retracted.
Taxiing to general aviation parking using taxiway Echo Alpha Cessna Tree Bravo Whiskey.
Zoom in here more on the MFD. Our fuzzy screen. Okay. Short little taxi. So, I mean, what do I think? I mean, I guess bottom line is playing it for the first time since System Update 5 came out and not having a CTD makes me happy because I've seen that that has been a major problem for a lot of guys. That doesn't mean I'm not going to still have CTDs or that they won't plague me in the future. But this flight went well. I mean, technically wise, in terms of the sim not crashing. There are definitely issues. Stop our timer. Like I said, about an hour and a half, hour and 20 minutes. But the wildly fluctuating air temperature is a big problem. And then the lack of agreement between ATC and altitude on board and ATC's perception of my altitude, that's another issue. A big one. Because, you know, I do the flight plan and I say I want to fly at 43,000 feet, and then I climb up to 43,000 feet, and I'm pestered with constant messages about how I'm below my assigned altitude and above my assigned altitude and so on and so forth. But all things considered, I feel like it went pretty well. There's our parking space. Well, it's good to be home, if nothing else. Haven't been back at John Wayne Airport in forever. And it seemed only fitting to go to John Wayne on my first flight post System Update 5. There we go. Is he going to work? There he goes. Alright, never got the official cutoff, but I'm used to that. Okay, parking brake. Right engine. Alright, I'm going to go to the boards and check some of that other stuff I've mentioned, but let's look outside. All in all, though, pretty good. Just that crazily, is that a word? Crazy, constantly fluctuating outside air temperature. That is going to be an issue, just because it wildly disrupts the modicum of realism that occasionally characterizes this sim. But, you know, I suspect that's something they're going to fix. Let's go ahead and drop to the logbook screen, if it in fact does. Turn off our... Yeah, I did. Nope, it doesn't. Okay. Okay, looks like there's been some other changes. Let's see. How can we drop to the logbook screen? We got to go through this... There we go. Okay, KBOI to KSNA, hour and 26 minutes. So that's okay. Why is my logbook screen now empty? I don't want to think about it. I saw this, a couple people mentioned their entire flight history was deleted. But it's got our total takeoffs and landings correct. It just doesn't have our previous flights. Huh. But it's got my total time in sim. Okay. Let's just say continue for a second here and check one thing. Okay. Let's go over to, can I do, what is this? There's all these new symbols. What is this? Oh, those are people who are playing. Okay. Oh, general options. Oh, look at graphics. I got it at ultra. Look at this. See? Ultra, 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 ultra. Wow. And yet the glass cockpit, maybe the glass cockpit refresh rate at medium, maybe that's part of it? I don't know. I don't know. Medium high. I don't know. It was at medium before and I never had any issues. Well, anyway, this is all stuff we're going to have to tinker with. It is what it is, my friends. But thank you for watching, and I'm sure that this, as we continue this journey together through the PTSD that System Update 5 has evoked, try to stay positive and assume there's a silver lining to all this, even though for me it was working perfectly before System Update 5, and now it's not. Anyway, we'll see where it goes. Thanks for joining us.